Every workspace needs an intention. What do you intend to do with that workspace? For me, this one is very simple. I intend to write and make videos. I want it to be as simple and as minimal as it can possibly be, but mostly and importantly for me specifically, it minimizes distractions. So let's start with the desktop itself. This is actually from Amazon. I was reluctant to buy this because typically Amazon Work desktops are pretty crap. And this one is surprisingly stable. And it's very wide and kind of shallow, which is what I was kind of looking for with this Mac Mini setup with only a 27-inch monitor. I think it's 63 inches wide and it's not very deep. So people with bigger monitors like 32 inches or I have like a 48-inch LG monitor right over there. Doesn't work for this desk, but something like a 27-inch works perfectly fine. It's kind of got these H-frame legs on it, which even though it doesn't weigh a whole lot, makes it very, very stable. And I'm actually pretty impressed with the low $200 cost that this thing came in at. The computer and display are the M2 Mac Mini and the Studio display. I'm not sure if it's going to stay this way specifically for the Mac Mini. It does most of what I need it to do, but it can't do all of what I need it to do. And I had to change the editing software because for whatever reason, Mac seems to have issues with Premiere gamma shifting. Now the Studio display, I thought about making a separate review of this, but I don't think I will because I don't know if I have anything productive or useful or unique to say about it. It is exactly what everybody says it is. It is a unique and strange set of collected features. It is beautiful in terms of the actual display, but Apple is happy to make you pay for those unique set of features. And even though it is beautiful, and that's the main thing with it, is that its display capability is just amazing. It really is a wonderful thing to behold. 600 nits of color calibrated P3 color on this is just spectacular. So to sort of condense what that review would have been, it's definitely for some people, and it's definitely not for other people. And you know, it's one of those things where if you're looking at a lot of the features that this thing has and going, why would I need that? It's not for you. I will say this though, I wanted it just for the display capabilities. I thought it was worth paying the extra money compared to something like the LG Ultrafine, just for the kind of 10 to 20% bump in brightness. It is noticeable in my opinion, having seen both in person. Now the Mini, this is the base model. It's nothing fancy. It does get a little bit choked up with Premiere, but it works really well with Final Cut. But the problem is, since it is the base model, there's not a ton of storage on it. So I went with sort of a middle of the road for performance and storage, which was DaVinci Resolve. It doesn't have the same storage demands that Final Cut does. It also features, in my opinion, better color work, but it doesn't have the gamma shift issue that every Mac I've owned has with Premiere. It's really lightweight on the operating system. It doesn't require a ton of storage, and it just works really well. It works really smoothly on the M2s. Now, part of the computer is, of course, the operating system and how you choose to utilize it. That's a big component. And I basically picked the same methodology for the operating system. I stripped it of basically everything that wasn't proprietary towards the exact workflow that I have, which is super simple. It's just 4 steps. It's shoot, offload, edit, upload. Real simple. So I mostly just keep editing software on there, files, email if I need to, because that's part of what I do. But in terms of like the day-to-day stuff, it's just extremely streamlined, and I like it that way. In terms of accessories, it's pretty simple. Apple trackpad and keyboard. The keyboard is a little bit of a good thing and a bad thing for me. On one hand, it's not the best typing experience coming from a mechanical keyboard. It's really like quite far behind in terms of custom mechanicals these days, but it's simple and it works with the operating system perfectly. And honestly, quite frankly speaking, it's the best Touch ID I've used on any laptop system or even phone system for that matter. It nails it every single time. It's very impressive. I'm also using an MX Master just to make editing a little bit easier than on the trackpad, but you know, the MX Master is pretty old at this point, and I think they need an updated version with USB-C. That would be sick. Then you have these Genelec G1 mini monitors. These things are awesome. I've had these for years, and they sound much bigger than they look. They really do provide a really full mid-range and quite detailed top end. Not a whole lot of bass. That's just a problem with physics. but they sound really wonderful and they're great for editing, especially on a small desk. They definitely hit a lot harder than you would expect from a speaker this size. Speaking of that, the HomePod. So I'm going to be reviewing this guy, specifically more of a sound-based review than a feature-based review. But yeah, this thing is another thing that I think hits quite far above its size for its sound quality output. I think the use of DSP nowadays is getting so good that it's really able to give a quite full sound from even a speaker that is pretty tiny. Even though this thing is really dense, like when you pick it up, it's like shockingly thick. All right, and then this one might be kind of odd, but that right there is an Espresso Pixie. And I absolutely adore this thing. If you don't know what it is, it's sort of like this little mini, it's kind of like a Keurig, but it's for espresso, or Nespresso's version of espresso, which I think is like 19 bar or something like that. They use these little pods. They're very quick and easy to use. I like them a lot. And I don't think it would be an understatement to say that coffee has been a big component of my career. Like I look at coffee as like a performance enhancer, right? So you can have baseline performance, and then like coffee might get you that 10 or 20% extra each day. But like that 10 or 20% extra, like it adds up day to day to day. So like coffee for me, while I do enjoy it, it's really about the performance enhancing benefits for work. Like it allows me to do things, work longer or differently than I think I otherwise would. Being a person who likes coffee, I want to have good coffee, and you know, the Pixie really does pretty good coffee because there's lots of different brands and companies that are making these espresso pods for it that have totally different flavor profiles and can be really, really crappy, or they can be really, really good. In terms of the workflow for the computer, it's super structured. Like I said, shoot the footage, offload the footage, edit the footage, upload the footage. It's real simple. I like to keep it as minimal and unobtrusive as I possibly can. And I think with a setup like this, that's not only physically clean because it allows me to not be distracted and have the burden of like, you know, a bunch of different accessories and things I got to worry about. It just allows me to have a minimal, clean, ultra functional kind of workspace. And I love that. So yeah, that's going to be kind of my YouTube workstation for the foreseeable future. If you saw anything in this video that you were interested in, I'll drop affiliate links down below. I do appreciate you using those if you do. Other than that, maybe it gave you some ideas for your own setup. But if you have any ideas for my setup, let me know. I really like adding cool little knickknacks and tech items that will actually enhance a workflow. But those things are rare and hard to find. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye.